Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. I am Dawn McGee, your nutrition coach, and I'm coming to you on January 2nd, the classic day when everybody has made their New Year's resolutions and is thinking, well, what do I do now? So, in our triangle of eat, move, and recharge, today we're talking about eating and how do we work on our New Year's resolutions or our goals or um, actually don't like to make resolutions personally. I put together a vision board for the year and I cast my intentions, and there are things that I work on all year round. So, um, what do we do? What's the first thing we do? Well, we have to set some goals. Um, Stephen Covey always said, begin with the end in mind. So if you have a goal that you want to get to, what is it? Let's 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 put it down. Let's set some goals for the year, and then we can start to break them down into smaller bites, bite-sized nuggets, I call them, of things that we can achieve within a month period or less. And then we break them down into what are we going to do each week. But let's start with the big goal. You may have heard people talk about SMART goals. And what is a SMART goal, and why do we think that that is an important or a good thing to set? Well, a SMART goal, and people have different definitions for what the S stands for. I like to say that it is simple. The S stands for simple. The M is measurable. The A is achievable. The R is realistic. And the T is time based. So let's say, for example, your goal is to be able to run a marathon. And that is awesome. It is not going to be one of my goals after having multiple joint replacements, I will tell you. But let's say your goal is to run a marathon. Um, that's great. So, how do we turn that into a SMART goal? Because right there, it doesn't really, depending on where you are in your running, right? It's probably not simple. Is it measurable? Well, okay, you could run a marathon, but maybe you want to know how fast you're going to complete it in or when. So we'll come back to that. Is it achievable? Well, hopefully. Is it realistic? Not, I don't know. And is it time based? We don't have a time on that. So it falls pretty flat on all of our SMART goal categories. So let's see if we can turn this into a SMART goal, right? So simple. What is simple? Is running a marathon simple? I don't know. Maybe we want to start with a 5K, so something that is simpler. So that'll be our S. We're gonna run a 5K. Measurable. Well, you could look at it as how fast am I going to run it in, or when am I going to be prepared to run it by? Typically, you can, assuming you are in great physical condition, you can prepare for a race like that within 8 to 12 weeks. So let's say um, 3 months from now. So by the end of March, you're going to run a 5K. So we've got simple, run a 5K. We've got measurable, we're going to do it by the end of March. Is it achievable? Well, I think that we can put together a plan so that you can do that by the end of March. Is it realistic? Well, there may be some things that we have to change about what we're doing right now, our activity level, what we're eating, things of that. But I think, certainly 12 weeks to run a 5K is realistic. And is it time based? Yes, we set a time frame for which we're going to do that in. So that's how we would take uh, an aspiration and turn it into a SMART goal. And we do that. We're going to do that with food. We're going to do that with exercise. We're going to do that with our recharge time. So that's what we're going to be talking about all month is how to set SMART goals. Why are they important? Because if we don't have realistic, measurable, achievable, time-based, simple goals, then we're probably not going to achieve them. We're not going to have something that we can start with and then break it down into smaller bits until we get to the bite-sized piece that we can clearly say, "Oh yeah, I got that. I can do that." Um, so if we were going to say, for example, we're going to eat healthy this year, That is a great goal. But what does that mean? Is it simple? Is it measurable? Is it realistic? One way to take a look at that is let's look at next week. Um, and what are we going to do specifically over the next 7 days to change our healthy eating habits? Maybe what we're going to do is have just 1 cup of coffee a day. It's may or may not be simple. It is measurable. I think it's probably achievable and realistic, and it's time based. Um, Maybe we are not going to have any fried foods for the next 7 days. Hopefully, that's fairly simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time based. So these are the kind of things that we want to do. And I think part of the reason I am so gung ho on setting SMART goals and making them, um, breaking them down into the smallest piece that you feel good about achieving is because we so often, we cast giant aspirations on New Year's and we want to achieve the world. And I think that is amazing. But it creates too big of a mountain for us. And then we get discouraged because, you take a couple of steps that are amazing and you've still got 10,000 more to do and it doesn't feel so amazing. So let's set ourselves up for success this year. Let's do it differently. Let's set our goals in a way that they are achievable and realistic and measurable and simple and time based. So all month long, we're going to be talking about SMART goals. If healthy eating is one of your goals, then join me in our Thrive VIP community at the end of January. We kick off on January 23rd with 3 days of prep. We're doing a 7-day real food detox. And why am I stressing that it's real food? Because we're not doing any fasting. We're not doing any crazy juice cleanses. We're not doing anything besides just eating clean, healthy, real food for 7 days. And yes, we are going to delete some of the inflammatory foods from our eating for 7 days. And I promise you'll feel better at the end of it for it. So I'll put the link down in the comments. Come join us in our Thrive VIP community for a 7-day real food detox starting January 23rd. And in the meantime, I will see you back here next week. We'll be talking about setting some fitness goals. So think about what you want to do for movement this year. Pop some questions into the thread, and I will answer all the questions next week. And until next week, what I hope for you, as always, is that you live a life you love without being hungry, feeling deprived, or giving up your glass of wine with dinner. So until next week, ciao.